Hello!
Hello!
And
We're back.
welcome. We're back. And with this super special episode. How are you today, Ika?
I'm doing very well. It's quite late, but I'm keeping my energy up.
It's for a good reason. Huh?
It's for a very good reason, yeah.
Yes, we are very happy to see that you guys are following us on Instagram and you're listening to the podcast, and we've gotten some
Feedback.
yeah.
And it's so fun to hear and to read. Many people are relating to what we are telling and saying, so it's
many people are laughing at us also.
Yeah, we are happy.
But I think that's good.
Yeah, we're happy for that.
Yes.
So today we have a really a special episode in front of us because it is the first time that we will have someone else joining the podcast. Another couple. And Ariel, this guy is special to you?
Yes, he's a special friend to me, and we'll see how it goes.
Yes.
Let's go to it. So we are very happy to make this episode, isn't it, Ika?
Definitely. Super excited because today we have a couple with us. It is Pablo, who is Chilean, and Rachel from the US.
They are very good friends of ours, and we are going to have a super good time getting to know them also, and you guys are going to be able to get to know them too.
So welcome, Rachel and Pablo.
Woohoo!
Thanks for
having
coming.
us.
You're welcome.
Nice to be with you on the podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to see you too, guys. It's been good.
It's been quite some months since we saw each other.
All right, good. So, as you know, this is a podcast about multicultural relationships, couples / families. So you guys actually are perfect for the first episodes because you are a multicultural couple, but you also have a small family already. You have two children. So please tell us a little bit about you guys.
Yeah, how long have you been together, for example?
Well,
we met in 2009.
Yeah.
We both went to a Bible school here in Tulsa, and so we are both musicians. And the first time I saw Rachel, she was playing bass for a worship team. And I was like, what? A bass player.
Wow.
A girl bass player.
Yeah.
He says, "Who's that chick on the bass?"
Yeah, and she was actually pretty good, and I was like yeah.
So you were impressed from the
Yes.
first moment you saw her.
And I would say similarly, the first time I saw Pablo, it was the last quarter. It was a school that went by a quarter system, and so it was the last quarter, and he was playing bass on another team, and I thought to myself, Pablo is a very talented musician, and I thought to myself, what happened to this team? Because they weren't very good before. And he joined the team. So it's just kind of funny that's how we got to know each other, is because we have a common interest in music and happen to both be playing bass on different teams.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're kind of like a bass family. And you know,
She has her bass.
And he has his
and you
bass.
have your
And you have yours.
Wow. But and this goes to the people that say that bass players don't get couples,
Or don't get partners,
Yeah, don't get relationships.
How funny.
Which is a lie.
So you met...
Which is a lie. Yeah. You are the vivid example.
So you met because you Pablo, actually went to the US.
Yes.
And you met there.
Yeah, so 2008, I was going through my fourth year in sound engineering in Chile, and I was asking God, to help me on the following year because I ran out of money basically, and I was very into a youth church. I was leading worship there. So I kind of wanted to do something different, or something that just God wanted for my life, basically, like following faith steps, or however you say it. And a friend of mine and I started praying about, because he was in the same situation, Alan, and God provided for us to come here to the U.S. to work, as missionaries for a year basically. And then when I got here, there was this opportunity to go to school and to actually do worship, which was huge for me. It was an opportunity that was very heavenly driven, I guess. I don't know, because I didn't have any money or anything to finance any of this. And that's how we got. That's how I got into the school, and I actually met Rachel.
And that's how you met.
Yeah.
Long story short.
All right.
And I can say in my case, it's just interesting sometimes how decisions in your life that seem really even unpractical in the moment, like that was a big step of faith for him to leave, 4 years completed of a degree to come to the U.S. And in my case, I had just finished graduate school. I had just earned my master's degree and had just gotten into a PhD program. But that year we had lost my grandma, and I moved back home to be closer to family, and decided while I was here that while I was back home that I would go to this Bible school. And so I was there and doing a ministry internship, and really I think technically speaking, as an international student, Pablo shouldn't have been able to join fourth quarter, so late in the year, but he did, and that's how we met through music. And in the internship I was in, one of my roommates was from Paraguay, and we were doing these kind of encouraging words, encouraging notes to end out the year with people that you roomed with. So, I had, that year I had Korean and German and my Paraguay roommate and a Brazilian roommate. And so it was a really multicultural setting that I was in.
You were getting ready.
I don't know, man. We call that here a God wink, like God was just winking at you and kind of giving you a preview of
Some
what your
hints.
life exactly what your life might be like. But so I was writing this encouraging note to my roommate in Spanish, and I had taken some Spanish in high school and in college, and had been on a couple of trips to Spanish-speaking countries for missions work before, but just not really utilizing it very much. So I'd asked someone who happened to be a mutual friend of Pablo's, and I asked her, hey, can you check my grammar? And so she's looking at it, and she says, oh, you'll change this, that, and the other. And she's like, oye, Pablo. And so she introduced us, and at the time, Pablo didn't speak very much English, so really it was just kind of these serendipitous choices that led to us meeting, and then also just our love for music, because that's how over the next year and a half we weren't together. We were just friends, but that's how friendship developed into a romance. So wow. So I actually have a quick question that I actually didn't think about it before. So you, Rachel, did you ever thought that you were gonna end up married with a Chilean guy? No. No. I don't know. My family here, I think I come from a pretty, I would say, multicultural, multi-ethnic family. So, my dad's side of the family is Native American. My mom, comes from more of a long line of kind of like German immigrants. And, we have family. I have an uncle that's married in from Lebanon. I have, my sisters, have married other Hispanic men. I have nieces and nephews that are mixed race and half black, and so we have a very multicultural family, and that's how I grew up. So I think, just from my experience, being open to having a multinational, multicultural, multilinguistic, multi-ethnic family. But I think for myself, I always had an interest in Latin culture and some things like that, but I wouldn't have expected Pablo and how we came about meeting. Like that was just it took me by surprise. I wasn't looking for it at all.
Wow, that's interesting though.
Yeah,
How about you,
definitely.
Pablo? Was that your expectations going to the US and get married?
Was that the
What?
plan?
Before I met her, I never thought about getting married or having children or anything.
Wow.
It wasn't not even, I don't know.
Strong words right there.
And, but the Lord knows, the desires of our hearts and He acts in sometimes weird ways.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But like
Wow.
you'd never thought coming here to the U.S. like, I wonder if I'll meet
I mean,
the
of
woman of my
course,
dreams.
Maybe, but this is gonna sound funny, but like when I was a little 5-year-old, I guess, I told my mom one day that I was gonna marry a blonde, girl with, clear eyes. And she was like, "What are you
Every
saying?"
Chilean's dream, isn't it?
Every Chilean. and he grew up in Bolivia too.
Oh yeah. So
Well,
yeah.
and you should tell him that. Like, Pablo actually, he's from Chile, but he grew up in Bolivia, and there they
Yeah.
used to tease him because, and call him gringo, right? Like as
Because he's whiter than
because
the
he's
other
a lighter complected,
when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
had
wow.
lighter hair.
lighter hair too, yeah. And so I just think that's funny sometimes when I talk to his family or talk to my mother-in-law, that it just some of the things that he said unknowingly as a child, and even some of the ways that he was bullied at the time. Then it's
wow.
I don't know, just they're just funny little hints that sometimes we can
Yeah. True.
look back later
Some
and laugh about it.
Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so you guys, you have stayed in the US since you met, or have you lived in Chile or somewhere else?
No, we've been here when we got engaged. Our original plan, and that by itself is altogether a weird story, because we were living in 2 different states.
Okay.
Pablo was in Florida, and I had gone back to Wisconsin to go to start a doctoral degree, and so we were separate for that year. And it's funny that in that separation, like that's how we really came to know that we loved each other and knew it was more than just like a temporary thing, or this is my girlfriend or my boyfriend, that this was a life partner choice. And so we literally got engaged and moved back to Oklahoma and planned a wedding across 3 different states, and got married within a week that we moved back to Oklahoma. So
That's crazier than us. Wow.
so it was a really fast.
It was 23 days.
Yeah, 23 days from when we decided we were we were going to move
like this.
to Oklahoma.
You're like these couples, like 90 days engagement or something.
Yeah, exactly.
No, 23
Wow.
Yeah.
days engagement.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Because we were engaged a couple weeks longer than that, but we couldn't. Some things fell through, and I wasn't able to stay in my program there. Kind of same thing. Just ran out of money, and I couldn't find a job in Florida. Like I couldn't, And so it was just like, well, where can we go? We can go back to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Where we met, and so we've been here. But originally, I thought that we were going to move to Chile so that Pablo could go back and finish his degree. And
Thank God that didn't happen.
but just the way things worked, as far as like with immigration and changing status and all that, it just delayed the process. And by that point in time, we were here. And decided to make this our home. But we've been 3 times to Chile, and or been back. I've been back with Pablo 3 times to Chile, And kind of the joke is I keep thinking, like, what am I going to bring back the third time? Because and here we go. Here are our children running out to join us. But every time I go there, I think like, okay, Pablo, what are you going to take back this time as a surprise? Because the first time it was like, okay, here's my wife that you haven't met, and we've been married for, a year and a half. Here's my first surprise. And the next time, oh, we had a baby, and here she is.
Wow.
And then the next time, oh, we have another baby. So I don't know what we're going to bring back to Chile the next time. Next time we go, Pablo says we're going to bring our dog.
A dog.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's the
one.
next. But I have a question about your wedding, because you are from Chile and the US with maybe different traditions. Was there anything that did you have to compromise, or how was it about the wedding? Did you do it Chilean, American style, or how was
I
it?
think you had two, right?
Yeah, so when we got married here in Tulsa, my parents couldn't come, or any of my family, but my uncle that lives in Florida. So he came with my cousin, and in the wedding, we had some little empanadas de pino, like mini empanadas de pino, which are like
pastry.
The Chilean.
Yes,
The Chilean kind of like
Savory
Empanada,
pastry.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we also had, I don't know what else did we have? I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I don't know, like traditional food type things, we did have a tres leches cake, so our wedding cake was that. But I mean, as far as like
Half Mexican, Chilean, US.
I would say as far as like compromises, and I don't know if it's so much compromise as just like collaboration, but for example, for music, we had some worship songs, and different verses were sung in English and some in Spanish. And when we gave our vows to each other, I gave my vows in Spanish and Pablo gave his in English.
Wow, beautiful.
And
Very thoughtful.
Pastor Luis, the minister that married us, he kind of went back and forth in the service in English and in Spanish. So
wow.
Okay.
So I mean, I think that's some of the collaboration in our wedding. But no, it's really good, but different in Chile with your dad.
Yeah, so in Chile we had to do everything in Spanish.
Hashtag related.
Yeah, so
But we did it,
basically
actually.
when we got married in May of 2013,
13.
and that January.
It was January of 2015 that we had a wedding in Chile. So we were married a year and a half,
Okay.
And had a separate wedding.
Yeah, so we had a
Well,
separate
we were
wedding
married
in Los
also.
Angeles, and that's where Cayo attended with a friend of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, so I mean, I feel kind of
So-
special. I got to do it twice.
Right?
Yeah.
It was horrible for us though.
I feel like I never want to get married again.
I know,
I had
yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Why?
I have a question.
Like planning and preparing
was too
everything.
much.
It was so much. No, I was happy when the Chilean wedding was over. It was like, never again. It's over. It's done. Now we can just be happily married.
I have a question for you guys. So, what was the first impressions of each other's culture? Like when you, Rachel, went to Chile, what did you see that you hadn't seen before? And Pablo, what did you see when you met Rachel's family?
Well, I kind of want Pablo to go first because he met my family long before I met his.
True.
Yeah, well, in the beginning when I got here, I kind of had similar experiences than you when you were in Australia. You know, I got that rejection when I was trying to say hi to a female or you know, people that wouldn't say hello, you know, after hanging out or something like that, you know. So, but with her family, I was here already. Like, I got here in 2008, so I kind of knew the culture a little bit. So it wasn't like really I don't know. Like her family was really has always been really nice to me. I love her dad and her mom and all the family. I have no complaints about my suegra or anything, you know.
But like something
but they
that
were hard to understand, right?
I mean,
Come
of
on.
course, like, but it was because I didn't speak English, you know, so it was hard to understand what they. And I'm pretty sure it was really hard for them to understand me too, right?
Yeah.
But things that like really that I don't really remember that were like hard or anything like that. I don't know.
I just remember for Pablo too, because let me just say, and maybe I come across this way in my recording, I'm not sure, but I'm from Oklahoma, right? And so my family, and maybe not so much my generation, but my parents and my grandparents have, you know, pretty strong country accents. And so I remember Pablo giving me these looks like, what did they just ask me to do? Like, I don't understand what they're saying to me. And I would say similarly when I went to Chile, I mean, and I had been to Mexico a couple of times. I had been to Paraguay. I had been to Panama.
Not to Chile.
I had not been to Chile. And it is, as far as my Spanish language abilities, I was not ready. And I had remember, because when I went there, I had spent a year and a half here, and we were part of a Hispanic ministry at church. So I thought, I've been sitting in sermons, I've been singing songs.
She actually preached in Spanish one time.
I've got this.
Wow.
I'm thinking like I'm gonna be fine, and I get there and everything is dee-doo, 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 like so melodic.
Like an ambulance.
And it was really hard. Like I had to just really be a sponge and try to figure out in context what everyone was saying, because it wasn't what I was used to or what I thought Spanish was.
Yeah.
It's its own separate
world.
Yeah, slangs
Yeah.
For the people that are listening,
she hated the bread, by the way.
She hated the bread. We can get there later. I think.
Me too.
Let's get to the bread later.
I still, yeah.
For the people that are listening, and the Chilean Spanish is a special Spanish. It's a different kind of Spanish.
The accent, and you
it's
tend to swallow
I
parts
guess.
of the words. I think that's the tricky part for people who are studying Spanish or still learning. It's like, but you didn't even pronounce the whole word, and then it disappears, and you speak fast, and it's challenging. I also experienced it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the biggest challenge for you was actually the languages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least for me, yes. And for Rachel.
Yeah, I think some of those. I'll give you some examples. Pablo doesn't want to open up and be,
we love that.
And be
thank you,
real,
Rachel, for being here.
I'll give you some examples, even just between the two of us. So forget family for a second. Even just between the two of us and some of our initial first dates, I remember actually physically hitting Pablo's hand because he had prepared a meal for us, and it was sort of like we were going to share, but he was eating, taking a bite of something, eating it, and going back to dip it again in the same bowl. And I remember like it just. I couldn't even think about it, but I physically slapped his hand, and he gave me this look like, what did I do? What have I done? And I was just like, we don't double dip. Like that is just a rule. We don't do that. Or like, I don't know, just the idea that you would reach over and eat something off of my plate. Or I don't know, things like that. And not to say that within family or something that we might not share, because we have a lot of family style meals here too, but that was just something as just an example that I was like, what? We don't do that.
Okay, wow. Parentheses, we are watching MasterChef Chile at the moment, and I'm disgusted when I see how they like taste the food put the spoon in their mouth, take it out, and put it back and keep on stirring the meal. That the chefs are gonna taste. Oh
okay,
my
okay,
gosh!
hold on.
He's
Okay.
he still does it. I haven't domesticated him enough.
What? But let's be also very honest. It's not that every single Chilean does that. I mean we do learn that is wrong. It's just sometimes we just forget, okay? And I've been trying to be like really aware of that. So
That's nice. Any other examples, Rachel? We are all ears. Any other like challenges or misunderstandings?
I'm trying to think. That was one that really just stuck out to me.
I mean, I guess like the food part of of our cultures, I think it really crashed sometimes because the way of doing things and stuff like that. Like for example, how we make scrambled eggs and stuff like that. Like I remember.
What? Hold on. How do you make scrambled eggs?
So the first time I saw
this
her
is an interesting one.
making scrambled eggs, like she would have a little bowl and she would put the eggs inside of the bowl and she would start adding milk and stuff
and ingredients,
and
mixing it up.
Ingredients.
And like pepper and salt and she would start she would make it with butter, and I was like, what? Like it was crazy. Like I don't know, it was that was like, what is she doing? And then what I think the first time she saw me doing it, I just I threw oil and it just all the eggs in the
well, and water. He made it with water. Like I couldn't. I just thought that was odd to me, but
that's how my grandma used to make them, and my mom.
Yeah, but I mean that's the healthy version. We do use oil in Chile, but I think water is the healthy version.
Yeah.
But anyway, like now she just throws everything on.
We compromise. We kind of have like a new in-between way of doing things. So like you learn, I don't know, especially over years of marriage, like you learn to make things that are more to someone else's taste, but they also learn how you make things. Or like, for example, I remember one of the first times, like even married, making Pablo a meal, and I made something, and I love to cook, and so you put your love into your food, and food here in the southern United States is really rich, and it has a certain heaviness and has lots of flavor, and so I put my love into my food. And I remember him sitting down and putting this food out, and he went and grabbed a jar of mayonnaise and started just scooping mayonnaise onto this plate of food that I had just put time into. I was like, what are you doing? It just made no sense to me. And I remember being like offended and us having this fight over it because I just thought like I just spent time preparing that, and putting the right seasoning in it. And anyway, he puts mayonnaise on it.
I guess that's something we do, Pablo? We just put mayonnaise and sometimes even ketchup to everything.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are a couple of little instances, but
yeah. What do you in general think are the biggest differences between your cultures?
And let's be juicy here. Just be honest.
I think kind of similar in just what we heard from you all in your podcast. It has to do with boundaries, with like physical boundaries. And I think that we're warm people here. Especially in the southern United States, I think that we help someone if they need help. But in Chile, it's just very like, I've never met you before, and like you were saying, the example of you went to a party and you had to greet and hug and kiss 40 people that you've never met. You would never do that here. And by the way, Pablo knows, if you we actually have to divide parties now because I am a more of a reserved, more private person, and I just get way overwhelmed and stressed when I have lots of people over at the house. And so after 7 years of marriage, we're learning how to make it work by kind of dividing and hosting multiple events. But I can't. I just can't. I can't host, especially when you invite a certain number of people. And I think in my head, like, okay, I have invited 10 people to this party. But then I turn around and 10 people brought 20 friends. And so, the idea of family and friends just being more inclusive, I think even getting back to our wedding, that's something that I didn't mention, but that was hard. Because Pablo, his thought was like, well, I need to invite everyone. And I thought, well, we can't possibly invite everyone. Like, we can't afford to invite everyone. And so just the idea of boundaries and closeness and I don't know, how many people you have at your house and how long they stay at your house.
Yeah,
things like that are hard for me.
The other thing is, like, for example, here, like, I mean, you are always on time. I get it. But like I don't know if you noticed this in Chile, Ika, but we're kind of like, oh man, it's so hot, let's just go to the river, and the whole family goes to the river, like, and they didn't plan it, like, they didn't plan anything, but we just go, and we just go and do things, and you
more spontaneously.
Mm-hmm. And here is like, oh my gosh, one time a friend of mine invited me to her son's birthday, like 2 months apart, with an invitation, and I actually got confused, and I thought it was like that week or something, and we got already.
We went and got the gift, and we're driving there, and Pablo is calling his friend,
and he was preaching, and he was getting my phone calls while he was preaching. And he was like, what were you calling me for? And
he thought that he had given him a birthday party invitation that was for that weekend, but he was giving, like this kind of customary heads up several weeks in advance. And Pablo had us out packing the kids in the car, going birthday present shopping, and we were headed there, and we're just trying to clarify the directions, and the party wasn't for another month. I think those are some of the instances that really showed just the difference. I have a hard time being spontaneous. I'm trying to be better.
So how was for you, Rachel, when you went to Chile, and then all of a sudden, like, 1,000 people come into the house, and then everyone just get together, and then partying until super late. I mean, partying. I'm quoting, but having family gatherings and stuff like that.
I mean, there are parts about it that I love that are great. I mean, that there's a sense of relaxation, and that there's less stress. Like, if I have people over, I have just high stress and high strung, and I want everything, to be perfect, and the presentation matters and all this, and it doesn't matter there. It's about family and about spending time, and so. On that side of things, I love it. I think the part that's hard for me is, and I don't know, some of Pablo's relatives are maybe more like me, so it's a nice mix. But, like, I would like to know, what are we doing this week? Like, what are we doing Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, and kind of plan out the week. And I don't know, that just doesn't happen very much. So I think in the 3 trips I've been there, the last time I was there, I took more of a just go with the flow kind of approach. And it caused less quarrels.
Yeah. So now that you're talking about what you love about that's part of the culture, why don't you guys tell us what are the benefits that you have seen in each other's cultures?
And about being an intercultural couple. Yeah.
I mean, again, I think some of it is a balance for me. Like, I'm someone who, Pablo will tell you, I'm kind of a workaholic, and that's a very American thing. But, he brings balance. He's the voice that tells me you need time to rest, you need time to spend with family, to sit down and have a meal, to to
Wow.
go and plan a spontaneous afternoon to spend time with your kids in the park and do things like that. So that's something that I appreciate about him, and just his culture and the warmth as well, because I just within family and friends, there's a lot of taking care of each other and just encouragement and lots of hugs and so some of that I don't know, I just appreciate it because it doesn't always come naturally out of me, and so being around that, you find yourself being more open, more affectionate, and so those are some of the things that I have benefited from in being in this relationship.
Right. Nice.
And you, Pablo, what about the benefits?
I don't know. I think the whole culture here, it just makes you be more like them in a way. Like, you know, you just take that Chilean or Latin American mentality of always being late. You know, kind of like be more responsible too. And some like you get to like embrace the culture and just make it yours. And sometimes I think when we've gotten back to Chile, I can notice that sometimes I kind of like act like I am here. And sometimes it might be a little harsh for my friends there, but it's something that you don't realize. But it's not in a negative way, I would say, but like that's just how it comes across. And I think, you know, just being in a relationship with somebody from another culture, it just nurtures your family, your kids. You know, your whole family gets affected by it. It's good to, you know, learn more languages and create a culture within your family that is different than the rest, you know.
Right.
We're trying to talk to speak to our children and teach them Spanish so they can communicate with my side of the family too. And that is, I think that is very, very important as a family to just, you know, we are bilingual. That's how we are. We are a part of this culture and this other culture, and that's how we roll, basically.
And that we spend time celebrating, you know, for example, the 18 de septiembre, right? We celebrate, and we will turn on a football game and root for Chile, but then we'll also, you know, I don't know, I'm just trying to think, but we also, you know, could flip on and watch the Super Bowl or something, right? So that our kids, trying to be intentional about celebrating both of our cultures, and that's what I mean. Even in the little things like food, where we can nag on each other or whatever and kind of pick at one another, I think we kind of find ourselves creating this mixed family setting where we're trying to celebrate and value both sides.
There are things that I really like about this culture that, you know, that are kind of like the negative parts of our culture. Like, for example, here nobody is calling you names. Nobody is, you know, being in your face or in your life and stuff. I really appreciate that my wife's family, you know, I see them when I see them, and we hang out and we love each other and stuff like that. But, you know, they are not always in our lives, like present. Like, let's say in South America, where, you know, the families sometimes too close to each other, that, you know, you have to deal with la suegra or el suegro, or, you know,
you don't really get your space.
It's just different. So there is space, and, you know, the people treat you different than how they do it there. Sometimes it used to be bothersome to me, because I grew up in Bolivia until I was like 15 years old. And when you get to Chile, like, everybody in school how do you say te huevean in a little, like in a less,
They tease you.
they tease you, like, you know, and sometimes like it was hard for me because I actually
Yeah,
had to
that's
get
true.
used to that. And sometimes I would, because it's I don't think it's a positive thing in any
No,
way.
definitely not.
And at some point I really got tired of it. But then when I came here, you know, it was just so different. Then I was like, you know, I'm over that. You know, I don't have to deal with that anymore. And I love Chilean culture and everything, but you know, I mean, we have to recognize that there are positive sides and negative sides too. So
Of course, yeah.
And these are things that we have actually talked about, and especially that what you just said, Pablo, about how Chileans put down people so easily, and they just do that.
It's
I mean,
just in the culture.
yeah, it's so hard to do something without getting any meaningless criticism sometimes, you know. And that's something that I actually I like very much about the American culture, that you encourage each other a lot more. Sometimes it's a little bit too much, and I guess that goes in the wrong way, you know. But
I agree. On the flip side, we can become kind of egoistic.
Exactly. But if you do it like in a good balance, you know, like children grew up like thinking that they can do things, you know. Instead in Chile it's like, oh, silly, oh no, you can do this or you can do that. So I think those are things that we need to bring into our own cultures, you know. Like as Ika and I say, we were making our own
culture too,
country. It's called Chiland.
But I have just talking about your kids. And that you are parents.
can I say
I just
something
wonder.
before?
Yeah.
Okay, so as I said, I grew up in Bolivia, and now I don't wanna sound, you know, kind of like saying negative things about the Chilean culture only, but in Bolivia, some of that stuff is happens also too in different parts of the country. Let's say in Cochabamba or in La Paz, which are like on the occident side of the country, people are, you know, really like chill, and they're not into one another and stuff. But if you go to Santa Cruz, which is like the other half where it's more like tropical, like there people are kind of like Chileans, and sometimes they're worse. So it doesn't just happen in Chile. And I think, you know, this happens, and I'm pretty sure in other countries, in certain areas,
Especially South American countries.
Yeah.
Well, I told Pablo, for example, the first time I went to Chile, and this is the only difficult part I can remember in particular about trying to put together a wedding there, is, you know, I'm not gonna lie. When I got married, my body filled out more because I'm happy, you know, and they kind of say that, right? When you're happy, you just start to put on a little weight, and so I went to Chile, and you know, not just me, but Pablo is with me, and he's eating my rich, delicious food. Thank you, Papi. I know you like it. And he had put on some weight too. And by the way, he hadn't been home in 7 years, so I mean, basically thinking about somebody and how much someone could change over the course of 7 years. Someone could look really different,
definitely.
right? And I just remember being so caught off guard because we had gone to this kind of little gathering, not just with family, but like just different members of the village there, of the town. It was a church gathering, and I just remember being really shocked that there were comments about Pablo's weight.
It's so crazy.
And literally, I'm not even kidding, but like in the middle of a prayer, like in the middle of like, hey, I'm giving thanks for my family being here. but also I'm, concerned about my son and his weight gain. Like it was just to me
No.
like
I was like, thank you.
but to be honest,
Pretty
like,
sure not everybody here knows me, but now they know me.
and I'm not saying like, because let's be honest, U.S. we definitely have a lot of bullying here, but things like that, especially with like a grown person, like you just would not say that to their face. Even if you thought that, you might say that to someone else behind the scenes, like, oh wow, I was surprised that so and so put on some weight, but you wouldn't say that in a public setting to someone. And I remember the same thing too, like having family that I had never met before, as we're out dress shopping for our wedding, making comments about my body, or like, oh wow, Rachel, you have really thick legs, or like
that's great.
Things that like I thought to myself, I have known you for 1 week, like, and you're commenting about someone's appearance. That's just something that I thought was really surprising. Of all the things, that shocked me the most.
Ika has a lot to say about that.
I have I'm quiet here. I'm not even laughing, I'm just in shock here. No, I know it's like that very much in Chile, and that's what I call the no filter culture. Like what you think, you also say, We have I think we have a quite a big filter in Finland. You think a lot, but you don't say anything. And over there it's more the opposite. So yeah, it's crazy. It's hard to take in when you are not used to it. And I think it's...
Ika also really gets upset when people comment about me being too ugly for her.
Yeah, they like people who are supposed to be like, I don't know, people who know you, know your family, people who call them friends of Ariel can say that he is not looking good enough for me, that how could Ariel get that girl, to me it's just like, how can you say that to someone you are supposed to love, I still don't understand that about the culture, so yeah, it's
Pablo is laughing on the other side.
He's laughing there quietly.
I mean, for us, I guess that's the way that we cope with it. We just laugh about it because we know it's wrong and we don't like it,
I think I would do it all the time with my brother and my sister, and I know Rachel knows this, and I don't know. I mean, I know it might be negative and stuff like that, but sometimes it's just funny, I don't know. Maybe not funny for everybody, but like... Yeah.
I think that's just in the same place, the same in any place. I think there's a certain level of, if you know someone really well, you know where you can tease someone and that they'll accept it as, like a loving comment, right? But it's very different when you've never met that person before and you're equally bold and equally just transparent with what you think. So that part was a challenge.
And I think the problem in Chile is that we just normalize it so much that is the reason like we laugh about it, and that's the reason we are like saying, oh, they're just joking kind of thing. But if you really think deep down, it hurts, It
hurts, and in the long run, it really hurts. I think it can really destroy your self-esteem.
So I guess this is a really good opportunity to talk about your children.
Yeah.
So what has been the challenges raising kids that are in a multicultural family? Please.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say other than language and trying to represent each other's cultures, I would say even just right from the beginning, have to do with all the remedies. Right, you have a baby and they're crying, or you have a baby and they have this cough, or they've got a ear infection, or they've got something, and I'm sure every culture has it, but the thing that was hard for me was hearing everybody wanted to chime in and give like their remedies, like, oh well, you need to give that baby some honey, you need to
this herbal,
you need to use this herbal tea for your baby, you need to make this solution and put it on your baby's skin, or just
Yeah.
things like that
The good advice.
or to be honest with you, my first pregnancy was really hard. I had a lot of challenges, and that was hard too because everybody was trying to feed me kind of all of their herbal remedies and all of this, and it was just like, well, thank you very much, but that's not what the science says. Like I need to take these particular medications, and this treatment that I'm doing. So anyway,
that's just part of the culture, you know. I mean, that's how
and sometimes
your
they
parents
work.
raised you. Like, you tend to do something similar, and sometimes without not even thinking about it, you know.
and some things work. Like we found instead of using a diaper rash cream, that cornstarch works the absolute best. So like some things
Wow, that's a good one.
And so some things panned out and they were totally true, and then other things
Let me say something about it. So my mom, like one time, our daughter had a rash, and I was just putting Desitin, there.
Which is a diaper rash cream.
Yeah, for her to heal, and it wouldn't go away, and she was in pain, and my mom kept telling me, just use cornstarch, and I was like, oh, Mama, like stop it. I'm not using your remedies, kind of, I wanted to kind of like get over it. And then I called my sister, and she was like, use cornstarch. And I was like, are you kidding me? And he says, no, it really works. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm going to try it, And so I put it on Lily like the night before, and like next day it was healed. And I was like, wow. I mean, it definitely is faster than those creams. And there are things that work.
Yeah.
There are some other things that, don't.
Or other things that were different. Like I love my suegra, my mother-in-law. She actually does not want me to call her suegra, so my Yeli. I love her. But I remember when she first came, and she was a big help to us, and she came because in the US, by the way, that's a big difference. We don't have really extended maternity leave, and so like other countries do, so that's kind of a unfortunate thing of having children here in the US. But we brought Pablo's mom to come stay with us for 90 days, and that by itself, I could make a whole podcast episode for 90 days. I could make a whole podcast on that experience and and the challenges and what I learned, some of the lessons I learned out of that. But but one of the things I remember is that when she came, she brought baby perfume. And so, I thought, what? And it was very sentimental because it was this perfume that she had put on all of her babies, the certain brands. And
Johnson.
And I'm not even kidding. I told Pablo, I smelled it, and I said, Papi, this smells like a skunk. Like I thought it smelled so bad.
I don't know if it was out of date or something.
I didn't know how to say I'm not putting this on my child, but it smells bad. So you just have those weird moments where you're trying to be kind and receive a gift, but then at the same time thinking,
I've never heard of baby perfume.
No, but I think every Chilean baby
smells the same.
Has the same.
I've always heard of people saying that the baby smell itself is so lovely. Why would you?
Yeah, the vomit smell you're talking
about?
The poop.
Just that baby smell.
The poop smell.
The poop and the puke. Oh wow.
Wow, but. Wow. What amazing stories and some good advices. Yeah, that was good.
So just about your kids still, you of course want them to speak Spanish and English. Mm-hmm. How are you doing it? Are you one of you speaking English, one speaking Spanish, or how are you communicating?
So I'm trying to speak Spanish for the most part. And you get used to speaking something else. Like here, you just get used to saying things, and you don't even think about it. That's the thing. Yeah. Your words just come out because you're English, Spanish all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so we Lily knows Spanish, and before we went to Chile this last time, she was actually talking and stuff, and I would tell her, when we go to Chile, nobody's gonna talk to you in English, so you better start practicing and whatever. She wouldn't listen, of course. And then when we got to the airport, she would go like to every kid that was around, and she would start talking in English, and they were like, what? And they would start speaking to her in Spanish, and she was like every new kid that she would go to talk to, she would see if the kid would speak English back to her or not. But then it was so cool when we got back from there. At least the first 2 weeks that we were back here, she was just talking to me in Spanish the whole time. But now she went back to English.
Yeah, I mean they go back and forth. But I will say, even with my family, and like I'm gonna be really honest, having my children growing up here, I've heard some concern from my family that they think like, well, Rachel, if you don't teach your children English, or if you don't speak more English, your children's gonna start at school and need to go into English as a second language classes and all of this, and so I will say from the flip side, it's a battle as someone who is a native English speaker to value the fact that your children are bilingual, and that you're raising them with a purpose, and yes, they might. We know that our bilingual children might be a little bit slower to pick up both languages because they're hearing both and they're processing both. But on my side, and with my family, I've had to kind of just kind of combat some of those fears that my child wouldn't ever be able to communicate with my mom, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so the good news is that it's so nice to hear your kids and they can go back and forth, even within the course of the same sentence, they're saying something to you in English and something in Spanish, and sometimes it's Spanglish, and sometimes that can be frustrating, but it is kind of what we are. Like, it is what our family is.
Exactly.
We speak.
It's a gift.
Exactly. We speak both languages, and so even things like as far as the kids, if we have television on, we do a mix. You're gonna see these cartoons in Spanish or listen to music in Spanish, but then also some in English. We go on family walks, and sometimes we say, okay, we're walking, and today we're talking in Spanish, so let's talk about all of our themes and what we're seeing around us in nature and speaking in Spanish. So those are just some examples about how we try to cultivate that.
There are really funny things too about being with somebody that speaks another language. It's like in the beginning when we got married, sometimes Rachel would try to say some words, like, let's say, can you give me that blanqueto? Like, she meant like a blanket, but she wants to, like, she would come out with words that were so funny. Like, I don't know, or like Lily, sometimes she says, like let's say, the big word of this week for Levi, he's saying tomano, y tomato is he means tomato.
He means tomato,
but he's trying to say tomate. So he says tomano. But like, I don't know. Sometimes those are really fun things to laugh about, because sometimes I don't know some words, and she would correct me, or sometimes she would come out with ways of saying words that sound funny, but they're really close to what they mean,
And what's really funny is you're raising your children in a bilingual environment is when they start correcting you. So Lily was telling my mom that you said that wrong. You mean this? And same thing to Pablo. So that's I think when you feel encouraged that you're doing something right, is when your child actually is able to correct you or your partner in their non-native language.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Wow. Yeah.
Wow, guys.
It's been
what
good.
an amazing episode we have had.
We have touched
Thank you so much. Let's
subjects.
recap. Mayonnaise on food, that's good. No. That's what I got of this conversation.
That's what you remember, yeah.
No.
But it was
bread.
super fun to talk to you.
a lot of bread.
We didn't talk about the Chilean bread, but we can take that next time.
But thank you so much, guys. It was super fun, and I think we have all learned from this.
Yeah, I really think so.
Wow, Ika, what an episode.
Yeah, our first
Do you
episode
like it?
with another couple is
Yes.
done. We could have kept on talking.
Yeah, definitely.
I felt like we could just have kept on going, and they have so much to talk about and
And
to
they
tell.
are very lovely families.
Yeah, they are so lovely. We have also met the kids, and they are adorable.
So the message is like, you can do it. You know, they've been together 7
And
years.
I like how they are really trying to keep the culture, like both cultures in the family, even though they have chosen to live in the US. It's really important for them that the Chilean culture shows in the family and the languages and so on. So
thank you
beautiful.
so much, guys. Again, you are a lovely couple, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Yes.
Don't forget to follow us, and thank you for following our Instagrams. And see you
And
in the
also
next, maybe.
remember to share the podcast with friends that you think might like it.
If you have a suggestions or anything, just let us know.
Exactly.
And-
The Sweet Chili Podcast at gmail.com or Instagram.
Yes, the
If
Sweet
you have
Chili
questions.
Podcast.
And if you have ideas of what subjects we could bring up,
Yes.
just let us know, okay?
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.